Looks weird. Look at my arm.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
Big Gumby.
that looks weird. Oh, sorry. Okay.
I think we are live. We did go live. Okay, so we're set up on YouTube Live. Hello, everyone joining us live.
Hello,
for the replay. And this is Kirti and Shofar, and we're about to go live on Instagram now. Here we go.
Turn down your volume.
Welcome. It's Natasha Edwina. We are here for Goddess Vibrations, the Spiritual Sexual Empowerment Show. Our title today is Tantra in Tulum Aftershow. You might have seen our video last week. We were broadcasting from the jacuzzi tub in Tulum, talking about how to embody Tantra and the philosophy of it. And so we got a lot of practice doing that over the week. And so I asked Kirti and Shofar to come on tonight. Here they are. To talk about how we did this, since they are the experts. They are our fearless leaders in this concept, creating this community. Hi, Rick. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola.
Hola.
Oh, here we are. Okay, making show the volumes all the way down again. Yep, mine pop back up. Keeps the echoes away. And
Let's see.
There we go. There we go.
We're almost there. Is that good? Es bueno?
Es bueno. Muy bien.
Okay. All right.
Es claro. Okay. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Here we are. Man, I just left you about 48 hours ago, but I miss you already. I was like, can't we just all live together? It was so easy. It was so easy just to wake up and make breakfast as a community and go about the day as a community. And that beautiful morning practice that Kirti led us through the last time before we got into the jacuzzi tub. I know a lot of people really enjoyed that, Kirti. I think that's been my most watched video yet last week. So I think they like that, and they probably like the outdoors too. So if it wasn't so dark out at this time of night, we could be doing these outside too. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to have this be a space to process some of the magic that we experienced. Hey, Nikita, welcome back, Goddess. Some of the magic we experienced down there when we set the intention, because we got in very late, 1 a.m, went to sleep, woke up right away, sort of got our bearings, went to the grocery store, and then it was back to work and broadcasting. And in that broadcast, we did set our intentions about how we would like to embody, how we would like to honor the land. I know, Shofar, you talked about that, honor the people that were part of the land there. And then we had many, many adventures in a short amount of time. And then for anybody that hasn't seen either of you on this show before, because you've both been guests, and I don't think I've ever had the pleasure of having you both on at the same time. So I'm a little bit worried that our electricity might short out with that much power broadcasting right now. But let's keep our fingers crossed. But maybe you both want to say a little bit about the work that you do for anybody that hasn't yet been introduced to you before we start too.
Sounds good. Ladies first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the work that I do is I facilitate movement of energy.
Yes, you
through
do.
moving the body and through communication, anything that helps move energy, and the physical form is my gift. So that's what I like to do. And I also believe in creativity consciousness. So a movement that looks at all problems as solutions, and all solutions as problems, and just an ever evolving cycle. So through creativity, approaching every moment and every situation as a new moment, and looking at how we can consistently regenerate ourselves in many ways as possible. Yeah, that came out today. I've never said it like that before. So that's cool.
Freestyles.
Freestyle.
Shout out to Kiyoshi.
Yeah. Yeah, who's still in Tulum holding it down.
Oh yeah.
He's maybe hopefully sending us vibes from there still, and we're bringing him back to San Diego. So yeah, that's beautiful, and that absolutely captures what I've experienced from
Mm,
you, being led by you, but also working and collaborating with you. So thank you. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Shafar.
okay.
So for myself, I like to say in a simple way, and this is a new way of saying it too, that I like to work with the poetry of sex, sex.
Mm,
So
Mm,
sensual, emotional exchange. And I say that it's a poem though, or that I'm a poet of that because helping people to experience the poem of sex through breath, between the exhale and the inhale, and helping that to rhyme. You
mm.
know,
mm. Beautiful. Yeah.
You
So
do that.
yeah, and so you both work with clients to help them with this flow and this alignment and very complementary, synergistic yet distinct ways.
Mm,
And what I think you're the sort of folks that just being around you is very healing,
mm,
Hmm.
and you vibe out, around you, and just being in a friendship circle with you, I feel that I feel charged, I feel loved, I feel appreciated, and getting the opportunity to spend almost a week with both of
Mm.
you. And Lord knows, if you want to see if you're going to get along with someone, go travel, and especially try flying out of TJ, crossing the
right.
border during COVID with them, and see if you can actually get along. If you pass that test, I think that's a pretty good
Yeah.
test. I think we had about 15 hours of travel on the way home. That was interesting, hence why I need a massage today. uh,
Mm.
but but yeah, you both really embody that energetically, and that's what we were talking about in the last episode, Tantra and Tulum in the tub, is how do you, rather than studying Tantra or saying I'm the ultimate master of
Mhm.
this because I've had this many years of training or whatever, it's like, how do you master it in each breath, in each moment? And everyone that was with us, Chad, Nikita, Jen, the two of you, myself, we talked about what that looked like in our life. And I feel like in that tub, that was setting an intention. And then we got to see how did that unfold and what were
Mm.
the results of that. And as just a uh, teaser, maybe, or a summary of the show, as I was saying before we went live, for everybody that's joining, I came back, I felt like I had fallen in love in Tulum,
Mm.
but it wasn't with a person. It was with
Mm,
uh, an experience. It's not, it's just with everything, with divine source, with mother nature, with my children, with my
Mm.
life. I came back just like on cloud nine, rose colored glasses. Whenever I'm feeling, it felt very much like my Kundalini awakening that I had in 2014,
Mm.
and a little dysregulating. It was hard to, I still haven't, this is my first like real like work thing that I'm having to come back to.
Mhm.
And I'm feeling a little bit like, whoa, okay, I'm a little shaky on my feet now, um, out of that rhythm. And so, how do we how do we create that in little moments? That's what you do, Kirti, and we all got to practice that. So I was hoping maybe you could share some of your stories, some of your insights, some of your reflections along the way of maybe things that we navigated or things that happened, either good or challenging, and what that looked like. And there's Chad. Hey, Chad. Thanks
Oh,
for
I
thanks for
know,
joining. It
Chad.
makes me so happy to see
I know.
our group again. I mean, again, it's a good sign if you spend all that time together and you miss them a day later rather than feel like you need to take a break.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Peace to Nikita. Peace to Becky Bex. I saw you on here,
Oh,
and
cool.
brother Chad. Good to see all of
Mhm.
y'all.
Yeah.
Mhm. So
Mm.
it's the floor
No,
is
she's here.
yours. Go for it. What's coming up for you?
Yeah, so, I think that in order to truly create a community where people are feeling heard and seen, right? That
Mm,
was like immediately how we started our trip was to be heard and seen. It takes communication,
mm,
so I think that that was a really beautiful jump off point. And you were a big part of that too,
Mm.
Natasha, bringing through honest communicating and being vulnerable and transparent and being willing to share, like, hey, this is how my heart's feeling right now, and us all being able to, witness and listen. It was beautiful. Shout out to Jen Darling,
Mm,
another powerful coach. And she really brought to us the concept of listening, like,
mm,
to hear is to really listen, and we know that someone's listening when actions shift. And so I
Mm.
think that we were all really committed to that for each other. And so as we expressed desires, we really did align forces to listen and create action that produced results.
mm,
And that might seem so linear, right? I mean, it could sound easy, like a marketing scheme or an engineering plan, or even what a surgeon would do before they go into the surgery room. But the truth is, like, that is all one and the same, right? Anytime you're trying to create anything, it has to come from like your experience and your wisdom, and then from having experience and wisdom, you're humble and you listen,
mm,
and then you shift some sort of shit. You listen and you see maybe triggers come up, positive triggers that feel good, other triggers that might, cause a little discomfort, and then from that you shift your actions to like
mm, mhm,
create some a change of where we were just at. And the more we practice doing that, we kind of create a flow. And I noticed that for me, it was inspiring to witness each person, each being be themselves. And the more I watched one person listen, I was inspired to listen as well, and I wanted to step up and show up and glow up and just be that, add to that momentum
mm,
of the wave of just being loving and supporting. I mean, it was intoxicating, honestly. Who wouldn't want more of that, you know?
Mm.
So that's, I think, communication, and then and a big part of communication is listening, and then following up with some action that shows a shift
mm,
of
mhm,
reality,
mhm,
you
Yeah,
know?
and I agree with that, and trying to rewind and think of like when did things really get started? When did we start going deep? Because you go into a new place and you are just getting your bearings. Like, what is this place? It smells different. It looks different. You don't know where anything is. The place we were staying, had no street signs, or it did, but we couldn't see them. Like the, I just, yeah, like, we're-
We got out on the last day, though. We got out on the
I'll
last
tell
day.
just
you, we did figure it out, though.
I'm for everybody watching, we're just laughing so hard because every time we left our hotel,
We
we
got
got
lost.
lost. Every time, every day, every time, every day, until the very last. And we were like, what? It's like being in an episode of Lost. Like there's like we're just in the jungle and things like Groundhog's Day just keeps repeating. And we couldn't
Mm,
find our
mm.
way out. And Nikita says, unwinding the labyrinth. Yes, we had a lot of time to talk in the van as we were like lost in the jungle. Um,
Yeah, man. And it's like on another trip, I do feel like it was unwinding the labyrinth. And the
Mhm,
labyrinth, it
mhm,
was a metaphor. Like, we needed to have those conversations, and we needed to like
yeah,
witness each other and their leadership voices.
yeah,
And then other people step back. And then when some
yeah.
people spoke up, how they spoke up. And this was kind of like what allowed that's so funny. Did you
Hot,
catch
hot,
that?
yes.
Hot, hot, hot.
oh,
Hot, hot,
did
hot is
someone just do
here.
that?
Hot, hot, hot is here.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. So anyways, yeah, so it was unwinding the labyrinth, and we needed to have those conversations. And I feel like by the end of the day, we got out because we actually learned really beautifully, like, how to integrate with each other. And at that point, we had so many clearing conversations, staying
Yeah,
up until 5 a.m., 2 a.m., different people staying up and everyone
yeah.
processing. But none of the processing was triangulation. None of the processing was gossiping. I mean,
Mhm,
all of it was about like the collective consciousness and how we were up leveling and transmuting and alchemizing all of our relating to a higher level and way of being outside of the
Mhm.
conditioning. And I almost felt like the labyrinth that Nikita is referring to, that is exactly it. It's all of us navigating this
Mhm.
freaking world right now,
Mhm.
and with each other driving through this. We figure it out every day, and it got better and better and better. And then finally, when it was actually time to leave this magical portal vortex of a place, nature was just like, "And it's this easy." And, like, we kept seeing more locals just, like, taking one turn and one turn, and we're like, "What the hell? What the" and finally, we're just like, "Oh, you just get it." And so the labyrinth is a really good metaphor for the labyrinth of connections that we all had, the labyrinth of, us all processing in our own way, being in the flow with
Yeah.
structure on a vacation, the labyrinth of attractions and connections and friendships.
Mhm.
I mean, that was a whole new labyrinth. And then us being a powerful force out in nature, just attracting all
Mhm.
sorts of energy. That was another piece of the labyrinth, right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think another thing with the labyrinth is that uh, that's very interesting is that we in getting in that maze, getting in that labyrinth, is that we could have very well with some of the communications that happened. I know, our past versions of ourselves might have got lost there, and that would have ruined the rest of the trip. And
Ashe.
here we are in this beautiful paradise of a place, and we could have really have because of some of the things that came up amongst tribe that's going to come up with any time you put 6 or 7 people together and
Mhm.
different personalities and attractions and people, like the different dynamics. We were able to communicate through that,
Mm.
and but it's the possibility was there to have got stuck in the labyrinth of our own emotions and feelings, and we worked through it, and we still got to the beach, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's for me what was so profound and probably so much of what led to that love feeling. And so, what I love about you, Shofar, is you're always bringing things to the sexual metaphor, which I enjoy as a marriage and family therapist and enjoy just in general because it's fun. Um, but I like to bring things back to the relationship, just a general
Mm.
relationship metaphor as a, again, as a marriage and family therapist training and looking at all those different dynamics.
Mm.
And yeah, there's so many things on that trip that could have done us in. There's like so many things that could have done us in, cause some tension in the group. But I think I was the first one to be feeling tension. And
Mm.
I needed, and I requested, can we talk about this? Can we bring it to the circle? But we are like going here and there and another. And I had to hold it in for like, a good 24 hours. And finally I was starting to feel a little bit of resentment, which to me, I recognize poison, right? And
Mm.
that's toxic. So I said I need to express this, otherwise it's going to undermine something. And because each person, as you said, was able to listen and hold space, and that's so beautiful what you said about Jen, and learning that deep listening is changing actions, is an action change or a behavior change. And once that was expressed and heard, the charge was done. It was a non-issue, for me. And I feel like everybody might have had one of those little mini moments, and there were so many tears. I think I was saying to Chad yesterday, I think everybody cried. He's like, "Well, I don't think I did." And I said, "Okay, fine," but I think his eyes might have like teared up a little bit that first night when I was sharing. I swear I saw a little bit of emotion there, a little misty eye. We'll see. I don't know. He'll have to check in,
Aw.
but it's true. We each were able to go into our vulnerability, and I feel like the energy of Tulum is it that you can't not. You can't not. Like, it's almost like eclipse energy, I've been saying, because today we're experiencing an eclipse. It's like when all the truth is revealed, you can't hide. The full moon is illuminating all the shadows. Chad says, "True, true." um,
The
see,
emoji that he picked though is crying though, bro.
yeah, it is crying. See, he's agreeing. But yeah, it's just like eclipse energy, and so you can like I don't. It's never fun to show your vulnerability. It's really hard to do. I was saying to someone yesterday, my friend Michelle, Everyday Goddesses. I was saying that I am a therapist. I'm very comfortable talking to anyone about anything. But what's hard for me is when I have to talk about my own damn feelings
Mm.
and my own emotions. And I know that my therapist background does not help me with that, because your feelings, it's your rawness. And I feel like there in Tulum, it's like you don't have a choice. It's just there. It's like, ah. And that sort of happened with everyone. And because of that, we're able to, as Shafar said, you kind of shed that older self rather than go back and let that older self come on vacation. And so having that practice is such a good metaphor for other people that are trying to navigate relationships, that are trying to navigate conflicts in their families of origin, with their partners. And I've always believed, because I've had this experience with you all, as well as some very emotionally intelligent friends in the past who've done their work, is that when you have mindful, authentic people who are willing to listen to each other and take responsibility for their own feelings and actions, you can navigate anything, and you can go deeper in your intimacy, in your relationship. And I feel like that's what happened in our group. And so, and then what happens, there's just more love. And our theme of the group became más amor. Like, how can we experience more every day? And at first it was because of all these businesses that we frequented. We realized every day we had a really peak good experience at a business that had amor or love in the name of it. And we're like, okay, what's the love going to be tomorrow? But then we realized más amor is also like, how can we open our hearts more? How can we invite in more love? And that was one of my intentions and desires that I stated when we had one of our, I don't know, how many tribal circles do we have? I lost count now. I think every meal was one, every issue was one. It was just very natural. So yeah, I agree that you get through that labyrinth and then you arrive at the beach, where we're literally dancing on the beach, and started a movement. Pretty much a movement started a movement where we were totally sober, but just overcome with so much awe and beauty, being at that beach as the sun was coming down. And then people came to dance with us and stayed, and pretty soon we had to leave our own party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I mean, it's also like a group of empathic people traveling that really walk their talk, and practice feeling. I think that that is going to result in, it could go in so many directions. So I think the fact that we also, it's like we're empathic, but we're also politically aligned with integrity and justice. And
true.
that's why we could feel the land, and we were able to sense and be aware as well of different practices that felt aligned. Because one piece of being in Tulum was also witnessing the development, and I had to process that on the side with Shofar. I was struggling with that, and I was like, man, this I have a hard time sometimes being on vacation when we go to places where it's just like resort after resort after resort, and you just see like consumption, consumption, consumption. And then you see the locals and they're in shacks. And my American brain wants to immediately judge that. And it was dope. Chad and I had a moment where we broke that down too. And it's like, and at the same time, it's like, I know when I was traveling in India, like some of the folks that were living like that were also really happy. They and we just kind of developed and talked about that, where it's like, man, you can still seek happiness, and still there's the piece of me that's like, but why isn't this wealth being able to, like, what would it take for us as a planet to just share the wealth? And where I want to know, is it, are they truly satisfied if they were to see the disparities and know what those disparities meant? Ignorance is bliss. This is true. And so that was a big part of it, to also be political and righteous, and conscious in traveling and the land that you're traversing, and crossing the border and seeing the child trafficking signs all over. I mean, that to me was something where I was like, damn, man, like, it's important for me to get out the house and cross the border, and seeing just like child trafficking, and also, us all being a group that's very aware of the child pedophilia freaking epidemic on the planet all over the world right now, and so traveling and being empaths that are also politically in tune, I think was really powerful for all of us, because each of us carry with us a lineage, an ancestral line that needed to go there and be there at the same time. And that was a big piece of the medicine too. Like, there was a reason this group kind of coalesced as it did to
Mhm.
do what we did together there,
Mhm.
whether it be the temescal, different journeys and ceremonies,
Mhm.
swimming in the ocean, Chad teaching us all how to become better better body surfers, that was dope. It was just like
Mhm.
learning something new every day from each
Mhm.
person,
Mhm.
everybody brought their gifts. So I feel like that is also a big piece for me. I've never traveled with a group of friends before. I've never done that. And I'm also somebody that has like a lot of feelings and feels lots of things. And it really felt good to also feel a lot of things and nobody make me feel weird for feeling lots of things. That was beautiful.
Mhm. I agree. And I love what you're saying about the land too. I was thinking, have I traveled with a group of friends before? And I don't often get the opportunity to travel, being a single mom, being in a PhD program, there's always a lot to do and not a lot of money laying around. And we had an opportunity where it was very affordable to go and do some work down there and see what we could see, maybe scope out possible retreat locations, that sort of thing. And I was trained in I visited Belize, I visited Costa Rica, and some group experiences. So they weren't friends; they were classmates. But I know what it's like to travel in a bigger group, and I very
Mhm.
much enjoy it. And I think that's why I don't tend to travel solo, because I've had really good group experiences and enjoy that dynamic. But one of the things that I was taught formally in my education program was to be a respectful tourist, that you
Yeah.
research the culture, you research the the land, you research the culture that you're entering before you enter it.
Hmm.
And so that's what we were doing as in our classes. And I was studying black howler monkeys for one, and the other one was Spanish immersion, and in Costa Rica. And and that has really helped me as a healer and as a clinician, is I study the culture that I'm speaking with, or the person in front of me. I try to learn as much as I can about their culture, and whether that's, that goes much bigger than even race or ethnicity or those, or gender or LGBT, goes much bigger than that. It's, what has your, what's your upbringing, what's your history, what's
Mm.
coming up before you start making changes or you start taking action. Another way to say this is connection before correction. And so I feel like our group naturally, like, that didn't even need, like you're saying, politically aligned. We didn't even need to say that
Right.
amongst ourselves. That was a given, that we are coming into this other country, this other place we've never been, and not being those assholes who are coming to take and have a good time and whatever else and not give anything back. And so we tried to honor that as much as possible by really connecting with the land and the people that we came across. And Shofar, I think, I mean, without saying too much, I was just really impressed by your channeling. I mean, Shofar is very sensitive, and he has things come through him, and ancestors come through him, and everything that you expressed, I was feeling, but I didn't have the words. I didn't know where it was coming from. So for me, that was a big release to hear that, a release and a relief to hear
Mhm.
that and to come out of your mouth. And I was just so, I mean, just chills, and then to see um, the way that Kirti supported that, and catalyzed that and encouraged that and kept it flowing. And so when you say, Kirti, that you work with moving energy, yes, you do. I've seen it. You work with moving energy and reclaiming space, and in that ability to reclaim space, you're so freaking inclusive. Like, I just don't think I've ever met anybody that's as
Mm.
inclusive as you are and loving. And it's just it's such a gift. So
Mhm.
I don't know if there's anything else, Shofar, that maybe you want to say. I know you like to sit back and soak it all in and observe, but I want to make sure that you need to speak. You need to be heard. So I want to make sure you're heard.
Yeah. I love
Well, first
that.
off, shout out to Jennifer Topaz.
Jennifer Topaz, yes. Tope.
Right, Topaz,
Okay,
yeah.
so now every time you guys ruined me, because now every time I go over the speed bump on my way home, I'm like, Tope. I'm like, oh shoot, that's never gonna go away. That's never gonna go away. But there she is, Jennifer, Jennifer Topaz.
You know
Mhm.
what? I think, Natasha, you know, why this group did good and others that like ourselves that go down there, you'll be fine because we had the currency of you know, respect. We had the currency of love. We had the currency of movement. You
Mm.
Mm,
know, and these are old world currencies, and they are new world currencies. You know, it's not, you know, the currency of the future is not crypto dollars or whatever. It's smiling at people and making eye contact and making
Yes.
heart contact. And we were speaking in the old slash new world currency.
Mm.
It's not pesos to dollars. It's eye to eye, heart to heart,
Mm.
and we can feel it in our group. You know, the group dynamics between ourselves, each other, and then everywhere that we was going, like, you know, this group. And I was just very, it was a beautiful thing to be a part of, and then also witness of our interactions. And then also when we went to the cenotes, when we went to the beach and everything, I could feel the reverence that everyone was having for the moments and for nature herself
Mm.
and everything that she was blessing us with in that moment.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was powerful.
Mhm.
yeah, and you not only can you feel that and sense it, but you do something about it. I think I mean I haven't known you long enough to really know you that deeply, but like I said, I know you to be an observer and a keen observer, and to have this sage like wisdom, probably from taking that time to sit back and observe and to notice and to look at everything going on and to feel into it. And I feel like on this trip you really stepped up like into your this leadership role in a way that I've never quite seen before, and it was really inspiring. And all of our ceremonial circles and the things that we did, I think before that peak of a moment maybe led up to that, but then even the next day, and at the
Yeah.
cenotes, feeling that, I mean, what a magical place to just be swimming through water caves. And it's just like I felt like such a little kid. I posted about it
Mm.
earlier. Just felt like such a little kid, and that feeling is it was just so fun, just giddy and giggling and swimming until my legs were tired, and
Mhm.
all
I
of this.
definitely felt like a kid with my Urkel glasses on,
You
My Urkel goggles, and life
I was
And your
life
life
vest and my
jacket
life jacket because my
I
was
shoulders
all
messed
like
up.
your life
I
jacket was all up on you. So cute. So
well,
cute.
No
that's
cool points left.
that no, you then see, and what's the first thing I said to you? And I mean, you did. I was laughing. You did, you did like hilarious. But I thought you looked like a superhero. I was like, he looks like
Handyman, yeah.
yeah, like I'm
Look,
here.
all the superheroes, they tend to be a little nerdy and geeky, so it works. It was pre-transformation,
Yeah, it's
superhero
my Clark
pre,
Kent moment.
right,
Yes.
pre-transformation. Well, I loved it.
Thank
I loved it.
you, thank you.
I thought it was great. Well, but then, after that we went and we sat in the sun, to dry off from the cenote. The water's pretty cold. And we're all laying and sunning, and then there's Shafar off in the distance, and I have that video for you where you start doing qigong on the land, right? And so you have this sacred
Mm.
cenotes to your right, and this beautiful grass space and these trees and flowers, and you're doing your qigong, and sure enough there's a little iguana that's captivated by you, and he
Mm.
starts inching closer and closer and closer to you. It's almost like you're one with nature. You're kind of like drawing him in. And I was like, there he goes again. There's Shafar. And then you come back, and you suggested that we lead a little ceremony there and leave, a bit of our DNA, a piece of hair.
Mm.
Jen had her combo scar, her last dot that had
Mm.
fallen off. And so she was going to leave that. So I think that, and I think that might have even been your idea, Kirti. You're like, Jen's,
Mm.
telling us it's time. And of course there were 7 of us and she had 7 dots. So it's just so
Mm.
much symbolism and so powerful. And it just kind of flowed. But I mean, I'll sit there and I'll notice the synchronicity and I'll notice the alignments and all of that. But I don't often think to do something
Right.
about it or take it deeper, take it further. But, you took it further, and we gathered in a circle and we said some prayers, and we set an intention there of what our medicine is going to be in this world. And again, taking it back to our viewers in their everyday lives, do you do that with your families? Do you do that in your relationships? Do you look at each other's eyes and take a breath together before you make love? Do you bless your food, even if you're not religious? We blessed our food while we were on this trip as well. You're preparing it to come into you're charging it and preparing it to come into your belly. And when you are in a state of gratitude, when you're blessing your food, your cells and your digestive juices are in a state of reception. They're ready to absorb the most amount of whatever it is. And I know one thing that I love about myself is I've had a very eventful and a difficult life in many ways, but I'm a master at making lemonade. And I try to
Mm.
squeeze the most out of every moment, no matter what's going on. And that's one thing that, that I love about myself. And I felt like that's what was happening on this trip too. And everybody in our group is sort of like that, which was so fun for me to be with you, because it meant that no matter what happened, we were still going to be laughing, probably crying too. We're going to find deep meaning, and we're going to come out with some riches. And talking about currency and wealth and value, that's what it is. So how are people doing that in their day-to-day lives? Are you realizing that that's where your wealth is? That's where your riches are. That's where your value is, rather than, how society judges your clothes or your paycheck or the type of job that you do, or your appearance or your look, or what your body fat percentage is, or all of that stuff that we get so caught up in especially in the US. And the last couple times I've come back to the US, I'm a little like, oh, back to
Yeah.
back
Right.
to this again. Bring me back to the ocean and the beach, and I just have to throw on a bikini and dance and, and just
Yeah.
laugh. And I know part of that is vacation too, but yeah, I just that whole ceremonial piece and the way that, the two of you really led that ceremony, and then how unexpected and beautiful that was. It just, again, it was just another, like, shook me, and to use the sexual metaphor, orgasmic, like the whole trip was orgasmic, because it had those little moments of like, I thought this was it, but it gets better. Oh wait, it's getting better.
Always.
Oh wait.
Always gets
Right.
better.
Right.
It goes even deeper. And then processing it
Mm.
even the next day, it gets even more juicy. And now I have a playlist that I started when I got home. That's I think I called it like something Tulum reintegration or Tulum something or another, and just listening to the songs that help me take that energy and weave it back in to my life now. And once you've
Yeah.
experienced like something like that, you can't go back. And sort of like, we've experienced this really amazing sex or whatever, you can't go back to doing it the old way.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Why?
that's,
Right.
why. So that's, I mean,
Huh.
that's Tantra embodied too, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
And how we
Yes.
use it in all of our different parts of our life.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I know.
most people limit themselves from feeling those things because we've been conditioned to think that it leads to penetration,
Mm,
vaginal sex. And we've been trained to separate, sex and religion, or sex and God. What we talked about that a little bit even on the trip, like, thanks to, whoever decided to write sex out of, spiritual and religious practices. Since that moment, we have, as human beings who have all entered this planet from a vagina
mhm,
and from the act of sexual intercourse, some act of a lovemaking between the sperm and an egg. Yet we walk our lives acting like we are not of that. And we have
mhm,
to constantly restrict ourselves from feeling anything of that. So once we start to just open the portal of, like, the fact that that act that has brought us all here to this planet, the act of that, we just think of it as the physical, but we don't really think about the emotional exchange and all of the things that had to align in the perfect time
Mm.
to bring a human soul in a physical form on this planet. I mean,
right.
that is magical. So when you add that magic to a magical place that carries that energy,
Mm,
it's just a huge wave, an orgasmic bliss. And people are all loving it as a vacation. And imagine if everybody also opened up themselves beyond even their small family pods,
Yes.
and felt that love with other people on vacation and other people in the ocean. And it and some people feel that type of communal atmosphere. I've heard other people talk of different communities that they've lived in that have had that. But
Right.
really it takes a lot of work of realizing that ultimately we are all souls in human skiniforms craving experience,
Mm.
Mm,
and we're so blessed to have this organ of skin that allows us to feel the breeze, the ocean water, the sun's heat, the earth's groundedness. And from that, we can appreciate each other's elements of nature and each other's existence. And then, based on the levels of connection and alignment, maybe, we are willing to be even more transparent and raw, and relating can excel in whatever direction it chooses to. But we don't really try to define it until it happens. Like
right.
you
And
said, make your decision and then make it right.
Mhm.
yeah,
Feel, make your decision, and then, like, let's make it right. We don't need to, like, overthink it before it happens. But the more work we do in terms of aligning to spirit, we can trust that all is well and that we're actually not acting to hurt anybody, but acting to love ourselves.
yeah. And what's coming up for me as I'm listening is so much of that requires deep inner work first, almost to prime to be able
Hmm.
to relate to others in that
Yes.
way. And that's a lot of what my work is. I'm healing, I'm helping people heal individually so that they can go out and create amazing partnerships, families, communities. And I'm really passionate about that work. And all of us on this trip, we all meditate. We all go to, I mean, we all met at a conference. So we go to
Mhm.
conferences, we're constantly in self-growth work. And when you're in love with the self-growth work and think, realize that there's always more to do, there's always a deeper level to go to, just like you're talking about with orgasms and orgasmic
Yeah.
experiences. There's always a deeper level, and when you're in pursuit of that, you're just going to be able to more seamlessly create these experiences no matter what's happening. So, and right now in society, I feel like there's a lot of like looking at, pointing fingers at the other,
Mm.
and the other might be wrong too. But again, how are you aware of that and still bring it back to yourself and do that work? And I also want to say to anybody that probably not the folks that are watching us live right now, but a lot of the people maybe that saw the advertisements of this are thinking, Tantra in Tulum, what is that? Like they just went for like a big orgy vacation, or something like that. And because people, again, like we talked about in the last episode, they think of Tantra as just physical sex. and and it's not about that at all. It's not about sex at all. In fact, I think of the time that we had dinner, and we
Mm.
met that cute, fun couple when we are all on
Mhm.
the swings, and she asked you, she's like, wait a minute, are you a big orgy or something like that? We're like, what? And what did you answer her? Do you remember, Kirti? You said
I
we
said, well, yes, we do have sex. We have sensual
sensual
emotional
emotional
exchange.
exchange. Yeah. But
Yeah.
not having sex with each other, but
Yes, but I was like,
sensual
but
emotional
we're
exchange.
not
Yeah.
have we don't exchange our genitals, but we
Right.
exchange emotions. And the
Yes.
truth is, so many women and men who come and work with us,
Mhm.
they, whether they're a couple, it's like they want to heighten their intimacy and their
Mhm.
sexuality with one another. Women come to me a lot of times with the request of, I want to be more sexy. I want
Mm.
my I want my partner to see me as a sex object and to fulfill all my wishes and desires. And the truth is, like, okay, and all of that is still external,
Mhm.
right? So really, the reason why tantra becomes about sex is because when you do the inner work and you traverse the shadow and you deal with your wounds of what's holding you back from thinking of yourself as a sex object, from
Mm.
thinking about yourself as a sensual beast, of thinking about yourself as wanting to get naked and get down with yourself, whatever's stopping you from doing that, when you do that work and you traverse that, you just naturally attract so much attention that
Mhm.
it life becomes very exciting. And so the next level of tantra is like, okay, so how do I navigate this powerful expression that I've tapped into to heal? And that's where the chakras and kundalini comes in, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because you can take that power and manifest anything you desire.
Mm-hmm.
When we heal the feminine, she'll create anything for us. So it's your wish is my command. So now it's about, ooh, what do you truly command and what are you willing to let go of to receive? It's all really becomes a gorgeous game.
It is
Yeah, I think
so true.
I
So
think it's
true.
kind of like the you know, so paying homage to Tulum to the Mayans, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like this was a high culture, you know, a very advanced culture for in its time. And I won't even say in its time, I would say just a high culture because they had certain things that, you know, like any culture or any civilization, they had things they were strong with and things they could have done better. But they were a high civilization and they understood the tantric play. They didn't call it tantra, but they understood the tantric play
Exactly.
between the sun and the earth
Ashe.
and how the sun brings the earth to orgasm without touching her,
Ah.
you know,
Mm.
to bring forth all
Ah.
these beautiful, you know, all the beauty that we saw in when we went into the forest and everything,
Mm.
you know, that was all orgasmicness
Yes.
and the sun never even touched the earth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you align yourself, when we align ourselves with that energy, they were able to bring high architecture, high their number system, their trade routes
Uh-huh.
and these different
Oh
technologies
my
they would
gosh, the
and
art and sacred geometry that was
the art
getting
and sacred
Wow.
geometry and their understanding of time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this all came from their from them being in tune with that tantric play that was that was at play. So I think what's happening right now, why so many healers and stuff and empaths are being called to that land also, so that we can be in resonance and kind of they call it the great reset. We're getting a great reset, and I think all of us that
Mhm.
were on that trip, we got a great reset while we were down there too. So,
Yeah, and like, isn't the meaning of apocalypse something like an awakening,
mhm.
seeing through the veil? And then we watched
Apocalypto,
Apocalypto when we
yeah, yeah,
came back.
right.
You know,
And I
um,
watched The Matrix before we left, so
oh,
Oh wow.
same,
all
you
three of them, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you're saying too about, I'll just back up a little bit too, Kirti, to the feminine and how, you know, she will give back and she will, to, you know, you honor her, she will nurture. It's Earth, it's Mother Earth. Like whatever we do, she's going to survive. We won't. We're in
Mm.
the fifth mass extinction right now. Dr. Bruce Lipton says a lot of scientists are saying we're in the fifth mass extinction. And I think who was it that was saying in Tulum that, oh, it was Dr. Steve. We ran into my friend, Dr. Steve Schwartz. He was saying that uh, they think that the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs landed somewhere right near there and created the
Mhm.
Yucatan Peninsula. And so there's
Mhm.
some energy even in that area with the last extinction, mass
Wow.
extinction. And so we're in this mass extinction now where the poles are shifting, right? The north and south poles are shifting. There's more water coming. The water levels are rising. There's more pollution. And so when we think of even like political things, both sides are right. It's happening naturally because it's just
Mm.
cycles, but it's also being sped up by this consumption, this unconscious capitalism, pollution, going too fast with the land, you know,
Right.
not working in harmony and synergy. And so what Dr. Bruce Lipton is saying is that we can slow it down. We have enough technology. We have, like you're talking about, Shovar, this ancient Mayan technology and civilization, but it was very advanced, and we have that plus now all this tech and things like this where we can change this around, but it's going to take people to wake up and start to honor Mother Earth and that divine feminine of, she's going to survive no matter what. She's resilient. She birthed us. She, you know,
Yeah.
the mother births the baby. She's going to survive. But how do we nurture her back? And so that, I felt that pretty profoundly. And then to speak to the healing that gets done. I've been doing a lot of personal healing my whole life. I'm in mid-age now. So I feel like I'm finally at this point where it's like, I'm pretty good. Like I'm pretty solid. I'm pretty healthy. Not that there's other things that can't be done. And so, and I knew going to Tulum, some shit was going to come up. And I was like, do I really want to open up a can of worms after I'm like coasting in peace right now, you know? But I thought, well, here we go.
Mhm.
And some stuff did come up. I experienced some healing, and I still am. I'm still processing today
Mm.
the healing
Yeah.
that's coming up that I didn't even know I needed to do. There was stuff that was still there,
Mm.
residues that I didn't even know that were there. And I'm just like, wow, like this is really powerful, and it does clean the slate combined with this eclipse energy. So everybody that's watching right now, even if you didn't go to Tulum, you were with your families probably last week. That's a trip
Right.
as far as unearthing and getting to practice all of this stuff. And so, what is being eclipsed away right now? What's being washed away so that you are clear? What are you healing right now? And then do you have the container? And if you don't have the container, sign up with one of these healers that was on our trip. They know how to hold that for you. We've got Kirti, who is, talking about the movement medicine, moving the body and expressing through your body. Shofar, who's talking about the energy and the sexual energy exchange and sensual energy exchange and the energetic relationships. Studied traditional Chinese medicine, I think, is what your background is, right, Shofar? And then we've got Jen, who's looking at inner child work and speaking for that inner child inside of you and holding space. And we've got Nikita, who's this modern medicine woman who's like a baby crone and goddess all wrapped up in one like cute little sexy person. And then we've got Chad, who's he's got a degree like me. We're the professors of the group and you too, Kirti, with your master's degree in education. But his background in marriage and family therapy and psychology and education.
Chad is an energy healer too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's got it. He's got the energy as well as the intellectual, like philosophical understanding. And every single person here can hold space and help people navigate this in your own ways. So, I mean, I'm a healer. Y'all are healers. I didn't have a community like this a couple of years ago locally. I had it from a distance. I didn't have it locally. So this is very precious for me, and I know how important it is. And I know that if everybody had this, we would create a new human society. And it's been, I read today that today, December 1st, we are officially in the age of Aquarius.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wow. And this is a new way of relating. It's a new humanity. And it says, let's see, Afro Rose Blossom. I was just thinking of Kirti today, divine in the DMs. Synchronicity.
Hey, I love that. I can't wait to check.
And we had quite a few people joining and commenting. Jen is saying same. It continues. That's the journey of going deeper. Yeah, lots of people check in. Oh, Chad left before we gave him the shout out. And then Jen says, can we see the magic around us? So it's really, I think another theme that came up this week was deep listening, right? Awareness of how your little ripples and waves of what you're dealing with is growing and affecting a big wave and the people around you and the society around you and the relationships around you, and being aware of your vibration. You just think it's like this little thing, but the smallest wave has the biggest effect. That's what I learned in my energy medicine class. And just like Shofar is saying, you create all of this beautiful, the sun creates all of this beautiful lushness without even touching her. This divine orgasm.
I say.
Hey.
Just so you know, we on time wise. I don't know if we started right at 7, but it's 7:55. So just
I saw that, and one other thing I've noticed is it has been letting us go over an hour lately on Instagram. Nice. I don't know if they changed something, or maybe there was some magic number of followers that you needed to like traverse to get there.
I've done it, Natasha.
I've reached the next level.
I've reached the next level, but I think it might just
be heard now.
I know.
IG gods have spoken.
IG gods have given you. You have graduated.
Except I'm still shadow banned. I'm like, what did I do this time? Was there an F-bomb in the song? Did I accidentally use the word sex? Like, what did I do?
I know.
Because I posted the ad, and I'm like, okay, it was up for like 30 minutes and I had 1 like. I was like, I don't think anybody's seeing this. Anyway, it is what it is. It's like we say, it's about radiating.
Jen said it's a matrix hack.
Yeah, totally.
Jen said it's a matrix hack.
Matrix hack. Yes, yes, yes. Navigating the matrix, which that's the other thing. I think there's so many in our group. We're all very grounded, have a lot of experience. We don't really we don't get caught up in the marketing. I'm not saying it's not important, it is, but there's a lot of folks out there that are really, really good with their marketing. They're really good,
Mhm,
Mm,
and
mhm,
they don't have, enough of the substance behind it. And that's one thing that you'll never see, I
mm,
think, in our group or anyone that I would really associate with. Because anybody that I recommend to someone, it's somebody that I've personally felt um, knows what they're talking about, walks their talk. That's very, very important to me, is that integrity piece. So
mhm.
and I don't really market, other than being on social media. I've never marketed my services, because the times that I've tried to, I've gotten more riffraff and
Totally.
distraction and harassment, particularly
right.
sexual
Right.
harassment, than clients. So it's just easier for me to be in the right energy space and allow that align and come to me.
Yes, that's the best.
That makes
Just
sense.
like relationships, it's like,
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, if you just like put yourself out there and you're not, even if you're doing the online dating thing or
Hmm.
any of the app dating, and you have a very your profile doesn't really show who you are, you're going
Hmm.
to deal with a lot of riffraff, right?
Yeah.
But if you really focus on connecting with people and letting them know who you are, and then deciding if you want to like share more, you
Hmm.
probably end up with some more quality moments.
And waving your freak flag, right? Here
Heck
I
yeah.
am. that's your
Yeah.
that's your lighthouse. I mean, it's
Freak begets freak. It just
yes.
happens.
There's a
Yeah.
series of things rolling out that we all do to become more authentic and feel safe enough to be seen.
Yeah.
And I feel like with everyone that we traveled with this week, I feel safe to be seen in
Totally.
that group, and therefore I can recommend any of you to anyone and have know that they're going to be safe with their most
Mm,
deepest vulnerable
yeah.
hurts and issues, whether it's sexual, emotional, physical, whatever it is. So that's wealth right there. That's currency, that's value.
Right.
Amen.
Mhm.
Speaking
That
of
actually
which,
kind of, yeah, that speaking of which, I think we're there. Go for it. I
yeah.
want to hear you.
Well, I want to let everybody know that what you have going on, what you're offering. I
Mhm.
know while we were down there, we were doing some business mastermind kind of collaboration and thinking about future projects and preparing for that. And so I just want everybody to know that we have some really epic things that we're planting seeds for right now that are
Mm,
not quite into their orgasmic potential yet, but we do have some things that we're already doing. So
yeah.
one of the things that I'm doing is I do a 10-week mind body skills group. It's evidence based for trauma. It is a ceremonial circle.
Mm,
It's helping navigate. It's a very smaller and very structured process of what we experienced in Tulum, really.
mm,
And I learned how to facilitate those from the Center for Mind Body Medicine. That's starting on January 12th. I ran around right after COVID. Everybody loved it. Some of the people asked to repeat it again. So here we go. I'm doing that. And I also want to invite everybody to sign up for my newsletter, natashaedwina.com, because this whole Matrix Instagram game, I've already left Facebook. And
Mhm.
oh yeah, I saw that. That's amazing.
yeah, I left Facebook. So here I am on Instagram still, but who knows for how much longer, because it's still the cousin of Facebook. Um,
Yes.
Mm.
so please connect with me on my newsletter just in
Yeah.
case anything goes wrong, so you can stay in touch and see what we're up to. But the two of you have so many amazing offerings. I want to know what's hot for you right now, what you're enrolling
Mm,
for. What are you
I
accepting
wanted to
people into?
say peace to Misty.
Mm,
She's one of my music mamas.
mm,
We make music together and we play music together and create music together. I thought about her a lot this week too. So Misty, you feeling the vibes? I see you. Can't wait to make some more music together. So right now, what am I enrolling for? I mean, I'm really I'm flattered. I'm flattered to say that my docket is quite full.
mm-hmm.
And that being said, if you feel moved and called like in an unshakable way, I encourage you to reach out to me. I really work with people who um, have come to a workshop or have built with me and another way before I coach one-on-one. So there's kind of other. Oh,
Oh,
what happened there?
I don't know.
Wow.
I knew
Sign from
something would
okay,
happen.
I guess my docket's not full. I'm being told to tell you that that was a mistake.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
Okay, fine. I'll stop holding back. I think that that was a sign to just let you know what the fuck I'm up to. All right, yeah. So so yeah, pretty much for me the way we work together is, if you've seen me and you enjoy my black sheepdom, and you are moved by my movement and inspired to get loose and get free, I'd say reach out to me, and it would probably like come to we lead rituals every month, and that's a good way to just get to know me and the work I do. And most of the people I work with, they are also coaches and healers, so you will also find your right match. I'm kind of a matchmaker, and I
Oh yeah,
like
you
that.
are.
Yeah. So whether you're trying to attract anything in your life, I think just coming around, you'll see that we do good work. Always following me on Instagram. But one thing I'm always, always, always looking to build on is every Sunday I lead a movement medicine
Yes.
practice in the trees,
I was just going to
and
ask
I
you about that.
am yeah, I'm just so moved right now and aligned. Shout out to my sister Golden, Golden Love. She's back on Instagram recently, and it's been our gift to help women connect with nature, to heal the divine feminine, and to truly understand the foundation of Tantra. For me, is understanding our connection with nature. So yeah, that's a good place to start, and to come to that class again, you just send me a DM, and then I'll let you know how to get a ticket. We just kind of talk to make sure it's a match, because again, it
Mhm.
is in times where there is COVID and there are regulations. So we just want to make sure that you feel comfortable with what we do, and that you feel called to join. And then we take our courting process since from there. And so yeah, I guess I'm being called to say I'm always enrolling. And if you're moved, reach out.
And the goddesses on our trip will be there. The sisters
Always.
Nikita, Jen, myself are part of that. Will be part of that movement circle
Yes.
too,
We should
enjoying.
definitely talk about the co-ed circle piece, and what we're looking to create.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was just going to say that, a great place to find tribe, if you
Yeah.
are somebody that, a thing that comes up a lot for those ready to awaken or in the midst of an awakening is rejection and the
Mm.
feeling or imposter syndrome. Like, do I really have the right to own my gifts? Like, will people love me? Will people listen to me? Will people like me? Do they see me? Or if you're ready to create a new relationship, like, can I really be who I am and someone loves me for who I am, right? So all of that, we're really committed to doing that work as women, those of us traversing this planet in women's bodies. Doesn't matter which pronoun you use, but if you're in a woman's body, like, first as women, we need to learn how to serve and support you and listen to you and accept you and normalize all uniqueness. And then if
Mm.
you're a man traversing this planet in a man's body, it doesn't matter what pronoun you use, the men as a community have to learn to love and accept you and see you and hear you. So a big part of our work right now is working within uh, male and female communities with all pronouns and all genders within that space, to make sure that we are healing each other first and foremost, and able to
Mhm.
heal ourselves in safe tribe. And so when you're amidst the awakening, you can feel really alone. So we have ritual happening every month. Online, we lead energy and breath work circles, so you can work from the privacy of your home. And then if you want to come join us live in person every new moon, we gather, and we are planning, a men's circle and a women's circle and a communal tribal circle, so that we can start developing the communication and the listening skills, um, to really start to shift the planet towards what does it mean to be unconditional with our love, and how do we truly accept one another, and how can it doesn't matter who you voted for, whether you wear a mask or not, whether you're choosing to use a vaccine or not, but at the end of the day, are you doing the work to liberate your soul?
Liberate.
Because regardless of what choice you make, your immunity depends on your energy.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what vaccine and what pill you pop.
your energy and your stress. I've had this Tinea versicolor thing from mold on my torso for months and months and months. And after 5 days in Tulum, it's gone. A little bit on my shoulders, but that goes to show that's immunity,
Wow.
that's immune system. In 5 days, being in this healing circle with you all, doing these healing ceremonies, having a vacation. Like somebody just told me today, they posted something that said, um, I believe in mandatory vacations, and because
I love
because
that.
because it looks like the other word. Everybody's like, I don't agree with that, and it's like, whoa, wait, okay.
Oh,
So
right.
so what if we actually switch to a society of mandatory vacations, and we wouldn't need the other, probably, right?
Mhm.
It's really interesting, and also to speak on what you're saying. These co-ed circles, I feel like we have men's circles, we have women's circles. Those are really important to get ourselves to a place of enough wholeness where then now we can be in these co-ed or all gender circles, I think is what you call them. And I think of like when people go to therapy one-on-one, we say it's like reparenting. So I'm a therapist, and you take on the mother or father and you reparent in a more corrective, give the client a corrective experience where they're now seen and held and heard. And being in our group was not like being reparented, it was being like rebrothered and resistered.
Mm.
And in
Mm.
and just I noticed, I didn't even realize until I got home. I was like, holy cow, like that relationship that I had with, or that interaction that I had with, shofar, for instance, is like reparenting or having like a corrective experience with my older brother. Like I'm
Mm.
feeling this older brother relationship that I always wanted, but
Mhm.
I didn't get. And you, Kirti, as being like a sister-in-law, like that, this is that relationship. And then other
Mm.
relationships that I had these downloads come up that I'm having corrective experiences. And when you have a
Mm.
pattern that it doesn't get healed, it'll keep coming up again in your life over and over and over and over again until you have that corrective experience. So whether it's in therapy or in a circle such as ours, like you're leading, this is
Mm.
really deep work, and it's work that does liberate you. Like you're saying, it sets you
Right.
free. And so you know this instinctively, you know what you're doing. I analyze all of the theories and the way that the
Mhm.
patterns and everything, and can explain it scientifically.
Mm.
So that's what I wanted to share with people. Really, really
Beautiful.
powerful work. Shofar,
Mhm.
anything that you want to add of what you're offering?
Say, well,
There's so much.
yeah, well, I just want to say also shout out to Maisha. I saw you jump on
Oh,
here.
yay,
Yeah,
Maisha.
she came to Healers Code as well.
Right on. Yeah,
Um,
I was
good,
thinking about her.
good to see you. Um, well, as far as the offerings, I have Soul, Sacred Orgasmic Living. That's my book for those of us who want to dive deeper into bringing more sacredness and more orgasmicness into our living. That book is, just a reminder of some things, some tools to do that. So, Sacred Orgasmic Living, Soul. Kirti and me do intimate relating for couples. So,
Mhm.
we help couples with, we do coaching for couples to help them have more orgasmicness in their life and up the communication level. And then energy work for either singles or couples. And I have a program called Chi Up, which is for men. If you want to step more, up level to another level with yourself as a man. And that's not to say that you're not already a powerful being as a man, but there's always another level that we can go to and to keep honing ourselves, to stay sharp. And sometimes brotherhood is needed to do that. And
Mm.
so that's my program, Chi Up. So if any of those things resonate with you or anything that was said, by any of us, just reach out. And if we're not a resource for you, we can maybe point you in the direction of someone.
Mhm. Most definitely.
What I love about you, the work that both of you are doing, is it's so high value, and you could charge so much for it, but I know your hearts, and I know you want it to be accessible to everyone.
Yes.
And so you do have
Oh, yeah.
offerings for everyone. And there's
Our
something
thing
to,
is
yeah.
always keep it accessible. Like,
Yes.
Okay.
it doesn't need healing does not need to be high end. Healing is nature. Nature, there's no
Yes.
debts in nature.
Yes.
Right.
And at the same time, your self-worth shows that you need, your time is valuable as well. So you can't
Oh
work
gosh. Oh
one-on-one
yes.
with everybody for a small amount. Like we have to
This
be
is true.
logical about these things. But you do a very good job of that. By the way, I couldn't take off my bikini. I still
I
like
love
I know I
Nice.
had
it.
to leave it. I've got all my
Oh,
Tulum jewelry on. Still see my traveling
yes.
earrings that happen to match perfectly with my airplane mask.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to.
Oh,
I couldn't take it off yet. I had to keep it going.
I love
But
that.
what I wanted to also just say, maybe this is a good place to end too, for anyone that's considering working with you or really looking for high level relationship work. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I still don't put myself out there as working with couples. Like I
Hmm.
said, I work with individuals. And if I knew somebody that really wanted to heal the relationship, I would send them to the two of you, because
Mm.
Hmm.
I am very picky about who I look up to, let's just say. And I
Oh,
look around, and I've been single for quite a while now, because I don't want mediocre. I don't want,
right.
I'm looking for something that is divine and inspired. And when I look at the two of you, that's what I see. I see a relationship. I mean, I get chills just listening to your conversation, overhearing your conversations, because of the way
Oh.
that you both honor each other and
Mm.
hold space for each other and relate to each other. And I thought, oh man, this is just magic. Like, how did they get to this point?
Oh.
And you ought to be out there helping other people do that. And I feel like people are going to be inspired and learn just being around you. So I can only imagine how deep that goes for them when they actually
Mm.
get to work with you in a formal way of a business
Mm.
client
Oh.
healer relationship. So I'm just very excited for the relationships that you're going to heal, and the hearts that you're going to heal, and thus
Mm.
the families and the communities that you're going to heal. And this spreads. So you definitely have my testimonial. And Jennifer
Wow. Feels
Topez
like
is
a
saying
blessing.
couple goals. Yes, they are couple
And
goals. There were several points on the trip where I'm like full body chills just watching them be in their
oh.
divine counterpart radiance back and forth. And I'm like, whoa, this is epic. This actually exists. This is what people
Yes.
dream of, but it actually exists. So well done.
Oh.
And it
Thank you
just,
for
Thank you.
that blessing. That was
And
yeah.
thank
very beautiful.
and thank
Received.
thank you for again making room for us. Like you
Mm.
did with the group. In that code S. What did you call it? The sauna tub. It was like a code locker to me, but whatever.
The cool jacuzzi, I
The
called
Yeah,
cool
it.
the
jacuzzi.
code jacuzzi.
The cool jacuzzi. Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah,
like an oxymoron. Like I didn't know that could be a thing. A
right.
cold jacuzzi.
Well, I told you,
But
when Chad and I were looking for places to stay, I was like, why are all these jacuzzis cold? And then we got there and it's like so hot. And I'm like, oh, because nobody want to sit in a hot one. But of course
right,
at
Yeah.
right, right.
night, we want to try to get it warming up at night. But yeah, the cool jacuzzi. It's
No, but
refreshing.
we appreciate you making room for us.
Yes.
For the six of us then, and then again for us today.
Mm.
Definitely what
Mm.
you're doing and everything. We see you, sister, and we
Oh,
appreciate you.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, much love. Oh, one last announcement. Kirti's back.
Yeah, that's
Kirti's
right.
coming
Oh,
back. Yeah, Kirti's coming back to the show permanently. She was doing a little side gig, a little
Yeah.
flexing her voice, flexing her
Yeah.
creativity in other ways other than talking and processing. But that is wrapping up. And so she's coming back December 28th. And then she'll be
Yay.
on every other week. So we can dive deep into some
Yeah.
powerful
Deep.
topics. So be sending them our way, whatever you want to learn more about. And we'll be sharing what we're experiencing as
I
we
actually wanted to take a moment too and Natasha um talk about your service that you provided with
uh,
us for us.
oh, okay. I almost forgot about
Can I
that.
do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
so we had a group hypnosis
mm,
and Natasha led us through a beautiful group hypnosis process that I've always thought of like hypnosis, like, oh, you lay on like your psychologist's couch and there's a clock and they like move it side to side and say you're getting sleepy and it was just such a dope, organic, like it almost felt like an interview with lucid dreaming.
wow.
Like you really took the time you know, it was late, and like you
Mhm.
just stepped in and showed up, and you took the time to get to know each of us. So if anybody has a block that is alive in them, and they're, whether it's ancestral, I know that you do past life regression stuff that we're all
Mhm.
excited about, you know, doing with you. Um, anything that you want to work through, any kind of trauma, I highly recommend it. I'd never had a hypnosis experience, and to tell you the truth, I think I went into ESR in the beginning. Like my
Mhm.
whole body was started to, I felt like it was, I don't know if it was visually vibrating, but internally it
Mhm.
felt like it was vibrating at such a high rate that I was wanted to explode out from the inside. And you're you're so funny. Um and
He likes that. He likes
yeah,
that.
he does like that. It's like it's getting late. Our conversations start to shift around 8:30. So um I was just wanted to say I'm so in for hypnosis. Like I always wondered, and I, like I told you, I really want to do the family like hypnosis where I can get clear on gaslighting
Mm.
in
Mhm.
my life. You know, that
Mhm.
would, I feel, oh, there's Kiyoshi.
Yoshi, what
Oh,
up?
Yoshi.
Yeah. So
And
that
Chad
was
is
who my
Ch
sidetrack affair was with, is Kiyoshi's amazing expression class
Yep.
on and release your expression. So
Kiyoshi,
I
you
left
stole her from me, but
Natasha for
that's
a little
all
bit. Yeah.
right. That's okay. It was well worth it. A good investment. And here we're back. And then Chad's back too, and he was saying him too. So you both, yeah, he was shaking as well. Both of you were. You were shaking on
Mm.
this side, he was shaking on this side. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. So if y'all are looking into hypnosis, that was a beautiful experience. I definitely want to do more of that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was special.
Yes.
It was
Expand that
it was
expression
it
of it.
was my pleasure. More to come.
Yes.
Mas amor.
Yes.
Lots of
Oh,
more.
he said big ups, fan Jen and Nikita. Look at them all connecting. I love it.
Mhm.
That's
Aw,
awesome.
tribe amor vibe. Yeah. Look at all the
Yeah.
love in the comments. What up, Yosh?
It's like I almost feel like we need to stay live just so they our
I know,
our
so
people
everybody can
can
talk to each
Right,
other. Our whole
right.
crew is up in this joint, he says.
hear.
Yep.
Turn that shit up. Play it
Yes.
again.
Oh, well, and also Kiyoshi, that song, man, that was
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
New shit.
yeah, man.
Oh, I
The
can't
new
wait.
shit.
I cannot wait
Y'all
until
aren't
you
ready for that.
get it.
Ah, la, 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 la. Oh man,
It
yeah.
was, I was just in the other
I
room,
come
like
from.
changing, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like moving, and I'm like, and then later I'm like, hey, I want to hear that song again. He's like, oh no, it's not done yet. It was just a little thing I recorded. I was like, what?
I
Yeah,
know, that was
really
a
good.
raw cut. It was like,
Yeah.
what?
I come from.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah.
Oh,
I
y'all
come
aren't ready for that
from
shit.
Marshall Islands. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be dope, man.
And he's saying Kirti Nikita about to have songs too. Yep.
Oh shit, that's
Oh,
right. His course is
it's
dope.
see, healing, putting the medicine out in the world. Beautiful. And Kiyoshi was on, actually, speaking of which, Kiyoshi was one of my first guests on
Oh.
my YouTube, not on this show, but on my YouTube, we talked about chakra healing, throat chakra healing. And so we had
Beautiful.
a lot of us had throat chakra issues on this trip. Shofar choked on a
Mhm.
chip. And I,
Yo, that sounds the name of the next track. Choke on a chip.
Choke on the chip, motherfucker.
Man, just go
Make a
choke on
choke
a
on the
chip.
chip. Make a rock choke on the chip.
Yeah, Shofar had the chip stuck in his throat. He suffered silently
Yes.
because he didn't have any other choice. He didn't have any other choice. Oh Lord, it's so the giggles, man. I'm telling you. And then a couple nights later, I got a vitamin stuck in my throat, like horizontal, because I swallow handfuls of them all day long. That's why I never get sick, you guys. That's why this whole COVID thing doesn't scare me.
You
COVID
choke on
doesn't scare
vitamins.
me, but the vitamins I take do. So yeah,
You're right.
It's like 1 a.m. Everybody's super tired. And I'm like, oh shit. Like I can't swallow. At least I could still breathe. So Chad jumps up. He's helping me like figure out how to do the stove to get some hot water. Shofar is like talking me down, like keeping me calm. He's like, it's all right. It happened to me 2 days ago. I
It
just
happened
had
to me the other day with a chick.
He's like, you just got to let it soften. You just got to let it soften. But
Yeah.
interestingly enough, listening
That's not what she said.
Yeah,
That's
no.
not what she said.
right?
You just
That
gotta
is
let it
not
soften.
what she said.
That's not it. Oh man. But yeah, so I'm like listening to him and just like receiving his
Oh.
story, like my throat, softened, and finally the damn thing went down. But then on the last day, then Chad gulped a bunch of cenote water. So really, some kid splashed him and he got a gulp of cenote water, and then he had a big swollen throat and couldn't talk for a bit. So luckily my fellow medicine woman Nikita and I just like swarmed him with and threw a bunch of vitamin C and pills and essential oils and propolis and everything at him, and he was waking up the next day feeling fine. But yeah, it seems like a lot of us were dealing with the throat chakra issues. So oh man. But yeah, so Kiyoshi was on the show talking about opening the throat chakra through expression. And so what a beautiful full circle, Kiyosh, that we came through now, and meeting in Tulum. That wasn't planned to meet, all of us down there, and and it just works out really well. And yes, I think we ought to fly back. I mean, I got lots of fly miles now that we kind of know our way around, but we gotta step it up next level and create some offerings down there. So I really feel called to do that. So let's keep it going. And everybody that's on here right now, let's make it happen. You want to see Tulum too? You want to go to the ruins? You want to see Shofar charm the iguanas? You want to see Chad swallowing cenote water and overcoming it? Like there's a lot of tricks along the way too. So it's and Sedona. Sedona. That one might be up next.
That's hilarious. Does he even know that that's what we've been talking about?
I don't think so.
Oh no,
I literally. Oh, okay.
I think I mentioned it. I was like, I threw out a couple things. Yeah, Shofar charming the iguanas. Yep. Jen says, "Don't gotta pull my leg."
Yeah.
Yep. I know, Jen.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I feel like if anyone watches this until this point, which will be awesome because they just love us so much.
Yeah.
But I think encouraging people to stay connected right now. It's really easy to disconnect, and it's really easy for introverts to use all of what's going on in the world to stay in but stay connected, wherever you are. Just find a way to connect and do something where spending some time outdoors. Like you don't need to go to Tulum to have a powerful tantric or natural experience, right? Like we have grass all around us, there's trees everywhere. So just connect with life somehow. And if you can do it in tribe and find your tribe, let the fake ass busters fall away and the real ones stick around.
Yes.
Yeah, the real ones will always stick around and just build little by little, and the next thing you're making a movement.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what it is. And that's one reason why I was able to leave Facebook, because it was as much as I don't want to read all of everything that's going back and forth in divisiveness, it was a way to connect with people. And now I feel like I'm connected in real life, IRL, enough locally, and I don't need to be participating in that. No offense to anybody who's still on Facebook or whatever. We all have our reasons, but connection, absolutely. That's community is immunity. So that's what's up.
Community is immunity. I love that. Dispense skills, not pills. Yes.
Absolutely. So they're saying Kiyoshi's saying yes, and Collective Learning LLC is saying connection is the balm. Yes, it really is. Kiyoshi says big ups to Natasha for leaving Facebook. Woo woo.
Yes.
Luminous Nikita's saying Ashe. All right. Well, I almost hate to turn off the camera, but we can't. We just can't just keep going. Or I guess we could, but like you said, probably if anybody's still on at this point, they must really love us because we've already veered off trail. But yeah, so I have some exciting episodes coming up. Actually, it's interesting that you guys talked about wealth and this eternal wealth, internal wealth and currency, because my next guest next week is my wealth coach, who is a
Mm.
sister goddess who is very spiritually aligned. And
Ooh.
she is going to talk about creating wealth the divine feminine way. So the way that the land wants, to feel that attraction, that synergy, that harmony, and how we can all
Yeah.
step into that, and have
Ooh.
those foundations. So please
Mm.
come back for that. And then, Kirti, you get a little bit more fun with Kiyoshi, and then
And
then
then
you
I'm
come
coming
back.
back to you,
Then I
Natasha,
got
my man.
yes, I got my sister back. And Kyoshi says, so how do
Yes.
we tap into the tantric energies, and how does a full moon eclipse magnify the tantric energies?
Mm.
Oh man, Kyoshi, you're still in Tulum, so I can't imagine what is going through your body right now as you're in that eclipse energy under the full moon eclipse. But I feel like, for me, but I'm moon in Cancer, so I'm real sensitive to the full moons. I was in bed by 7 p.m. last night. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
like knocked out. I didn't go to sleep at 7, but for me, it's like I need a lot of grounding. Like I had to put my feet in the ocean here in California, even though it was cold. I was 60 degrees and I was still walking around with bare feet and they're numb,
Mm-hmm.
because I needed to ground with that full moon energy. But what do you both think about the full moon energy, the eclipse energy in Tantra,
Mm.
tapping
Well,
into tantric energies
for
under the full moon?
yeah, I mean the beauty, the biggest beauty of Tantra is, it's really understanding our own inner nature.
Hmm.
Our body is mostly made up of water.
Mm,
And so the full moon tends to raise the tides.
mm,
Mm.
And
yep.
so those tides are also getting raised within our own being. So really tuning in one way is to do some ritual. Like, so when you want to, anytime you want to connect with nature, you basically think of your inner nature
Mm.
and create a metaphor for what you see around you, and then create it. And you can't do it wrong because it's your ritual. It's
Right.
coming from your inner knowing. So if you think of the water, and naturally, like, I was totally vulnerable with y'all. Like, I got really clear with some deep rooted body image issues, and aging, and like where I want to see my body and how I want to age and not be. I no longer have a desire to look like a magazine, but be the healthiest form of myself. And really, what was coming up for me is like, what does that look like for me now? So in that that's just been in the air. It was a little bit pre Tulum, and then like I started my cycle early, so it's
Mm.
probably a part of that. Just feeling bloated,
Very
but
kind
I
of
was
you
like,
to synchronize with
yes,
me.
yeah,
Be
but
empathetic.
really, what that was I was getting an inner hit. Like, that's what we call a
Yeah.
download, where it's like, oh,
Hmm.
this is new information. I thought that I was clear with that. So now with this full moon, I made it clear that, like, I am going to process that.
Mm.
So I want to process this feeling of like what I want to create with my body moving forward. I'm ready to do that now with my life. So if I'm ready to do that now with my life, that means I have been holding on to something that's not allowing me to do that with my life. So
Hmm.
the full moon is asking us, whatever you are full with, to be ready to release and shed something so that you can refill with your new creation. But in
Yes.
order to refill, for some to become something new, you've got to let something go.
Yes.
So
Mm.
the moon, because it really does affect the water, it's a beautiful time to integrate water and look at how all things are created in water and create ritual with water. So it could even be the thing of, watering your plants and planting a seed of intention, right? Taking, if you want to see a shift with your family, doing something that we talked to y'all about the DNA piece, right? And parts of yourself, or writing a letter to yourself, or setting an intention and actually planting it into the ground at the full moon time is a beautiful practice. And really, what's beautiful about shedding in the full moon is that the moon immediately the next day starts to become new again, where it's going towards darkness. So that's the beauty of the moon. It's always the phases.
Mm.
So for me, new moon ritual is that, and then eclipse. is, this is the solar eclipse, so it's like in the shadow, literally.
And
So looking at what that ring of light, what is the shadow? What ring of light is the shadow exposing for us? What can a moment of darkness bring light to? And so you don't have to read a book or an article unless you're moved to, but truly the ritual is inside of you. And that's the tantric way, is that there is no wrong way. It's
Right.
your way.
Mm-hmm. And
Talk
I
to me, baby. Talk to me. What do you think? I want to hear it too.
No, I would say that that's enough. That's sufficient. What Kirti just said is, just introspect on the nature of what's happening. Like, allow the wisdom of what's unfolding naturally in the heavens above to, as above, so below. Those same things are you is a mirror of what's happening in yourself. Like everything that Kirti just said, and you are in the land, Kyoshi, of the jaguar. You
Mm,
know, and that's a you look at its coat. It has the light and it has the shadow. It has the spots.
Mm.
you know and so be like the jaguar. Embrace both the beautiful orange color, the brightness, like the jacket that you wore that night that we were at Tuluminati. The brightness of yourself, but then also do not deny and not embrace the spots, the shadow of yourself too, and
Mm.
that will align you with what's going on in the heavens right now. Everything that Kirti just said.
And
yeah.
sensual energy is high, with the ocean. Usually we've been learning about that, about 3 days before that full moon. Sensual energy of feeling is very high, and that's a good time to also practice any kind of up leveling. And I love, you said like corrective upcycling of any sexual and sensual trauma. The
Hmm.
full moon is prime time to do that as well.
Yeah. And we all know what came up for me, that I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
And not even realizing it until a day later what the root of that was. And then it's still unfolding, like how deep
Hmm.
that goes, and having that awareness that, wow, I don't, like, as Jen is saying, she said, what did she say? She said, you got to
I just
release
saw
to
ochre.
Yeah, you
got
got you.
ochre, got to release the old to create space for the new. So yeah, having this full moon energy, having this dynamic arrange that was similar enough to a traumatic experience in my life and my relationship life to trigger me, and to a point where I
Right.
didn't think I could be triggered. And then I got triggered, and then I was like, okay, having a corrective experience of talking about this honestly and seeing, oh, this is still my stuff. Like this, I didn't know it
Hmm.
was there. So now what is that? And then, flipping that around and then realizing, oh shit, I'm done with it now. Because once you have that
Yes.
corrective experience, it's done. It's complete.
Yeah.
It's eclipsed
Oh,
out.
yay.
And it's no longer in the way for what it is that now, you, like Jen says,
Mm.
you have space to
Yeah.
bring in now what it is that you really want. And even talking about like the body image stuff, I felt some of that too. This is,
Oh,
all of
yeah.
our gyms are closed, like we're not able to move our bodies and feel as strong as maybe we could
Hmm.
prior, and not able to leave our houses. And I look at you, Kirti, and I just see you so luscious and like so like full and sensual and juicy. And that's what I see when I look at your body.
Oh, thank
And I'm like,
you.
it's such an outer expression of your personality and who you are. And yet I also know, being in my phases of the moon where I can go from different, my body changes. That's the feminine. Our body changes
Totally. Oh
constantly
my
depending
God.
on what's going
Yes.
on in our life and our relationships and all of that. And how do we have acceptance for that and love that deeply, and also leave space to be okay to want something different for our body. For instance, I can love my body in its expression right now, but also still be excited about getting back to more muscle tone and
Right.
getting back to more movement, and shaping my body as my life shapes, right? And
Totally.
so and then how can you do that work unless you speak to it? And you spoke to it vulnerably, and that's again the full moon, the eclipse, it's shining the light on those shadows. And
Mm.
until the light shines on those shadows, we can't heal it. Until we actually, if I had not shared what happened with me with the group, and then in deeper one-on-one conversations, then that shadow never would have, it just would have got buried back down again, and with a deeper hurt, a deeper wound.
Oh, and then the pattern would just, you
Hmm.
have it come up again on some
Right.
other thing that you do and go on. And yeah, so I think once we start completing, we start to realize like there's a lot of value in owning in owning your shit.
Mm.
Oh yeah. And you have to take the first step. And then the second step, which is crucial, 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 is having the community that can listen and hear and hold space for you and not say,
Yes.
you're being crazy. What's wrong with you? Like, oh, don't be ridiculous. Oh, girl, you look great. Or,
Right.
shutting you down in whatever way, well-intentioned, or, getting triggered themselves and getting defensive because of when you share like a reaction that you had. And you shared another, something very vulnerable with me that I was like,
Mm.
oh man, I'm so glad you did. Like, thank you I was just so honored that you shared that, because then I could reflect on my behavior and looking, a little bit bigger into this whole picture. So it's that's the full moon eclipse. That's the eclipse stuff. That's the full moon stuff. That's
That's that stuff.
that's how we're still moving through the tantra of it
Mm.
right now, in my opinion. The oneness. I think back to your words in the cool jacuzzi, Shafar. It's the the oneness. Each moment, how do we become one in the cool jacuzzi? Yeah.
It was not cool.
It was cold.
It was cold. Okay. Okay. It wasn't as cold as the ocean right now in Carlsbad, at least. So we'll have it. I'll say that much. I was like, why do my feet hurt? Like, I was so out of it yesterday. And out of it, I mean, like, still in an altered state from, coming back and all the love vibes and the dopamine and all this stuff. Like, I felt my feet felt like wood blocks. And I was like, why do my feet hurt? Like, what's going on? This is so weird. And then I go into my car and I turn the ignition on. I look at the temperature. I'm like, oh, it's like 59 degrees outside. That's why they're frozen. But I'm just so happy to be put my feet in the water and the sand. And I was walking and walking and walking back and forth, talking to my friend. So yeah. Powerful time. So, and then, drink lots of water. Somebody else mentioned the water, the sensuality of the water and flowing with the water. So the moon is water. The moon is the feminine. Be one with the water. That's the Tao too, right? The flow, the path of least resistance, just flow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
A beautiful human. Hey, thank you for stopping by. We're about to end, but you know where to find the recording. Not cenote water though, Chad says. Chad, everybody says not to drink the water in Mexico. And look at you.
That was some libation.
Libation. Water vendors unite, Kyoshi says. Yes.
Nice.
Water vendors. Yeah, we were bending some waves, that's for sure. That was pretty dope.
Well, I guess we got to end this. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here laughing for another 20 minutes, which is fun too, but maybe not so fun for everyone else. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you all again. Shaz says it's not a joke. Oh man. So I'll probably see the two of you, or at least you, Kiersey, on Sunday for your movement practice, 9 a.m. And the rest of you come back next Monday when I'm talking with Arlene Broussard, my wealth coach, talking about creating wealth the divine feminine way, this flow, this conscious, respectful, juicy way.
Beautiful.
All right. Good night, everyone. You know where to find us. Till we meet again.
Everybody.
Lots of love. Thanks, Jen.
Right.
Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Love you. Yeah.
Okay.
That was so cool.
Thanks so much. I almost hate to say goodbye. I have so much love for you both, but we'll do this again really soon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your beautiful.
Thank you so much for all of it.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was truly a pleasure. All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Ciao.